Hello, it's Deb here, and today it's week 3. It's Career and Business Week, and I'm joined by Serena Fordham of her Business Revolution, and we're going to be talking about business strategy. Now, one of the things that we've already overcome today is technology and its impact on business, but we're not letting that stop us. I'm hoping that by the time you see this, we've overcome all of those obstacles that are sent to try us, and we can bring you a really well-crafted, well-honed Zoom meeting. This is, after all, real life, real women, real stuff, or even real women, real life, real stuff. Let's get straight in. Let's welcome Serena. And Serena, great to have you here. Thank you so much for agreeing to be one of my guest experts. I really, really appreciate it. And as I've just said, we're going to be talking about business strategy. But tell me first a little bit about what it is you do and your business, and what is it that makes you a business strategist expert?
Oh, that's a good question. Very
No
good
pressure.
question. Oh, no pressure. I always find it really interesting when people ask that, what do you do? Because as women, we all have so many different hats, don't we? So, but in a nutshell, I'm Serena. My main passion is supporting women in business to achieve all they can with their businesses. So I do that through my company, Her Business Revolution, and that is we do networking, we do training, we do larger empowerment events, which one you're going to be part of next year. We do lots of stuff online and offline in order to give women the tools and the training and empower them to achieve what they want from their businesses. So that's sort of my main business baby. I started that in 2015, and that actually came about by from a client of my other business, which is Glow Virtual Assistants. So I also run an agency of virtual assistants, and that's how kind of my business journey came about, whereby I started that 8 years ago now, and that progressed into having this client that run this small little women's networking group local to me, and developing that from that point into what Her Business Revolution is today. So I run both those businesses and also a charity supporting mums to achieve their potential, which is kind of a sideline passion. I'm a mum of 2 children, my daughter who's 7, my son who's 3. My daughter has epilepsy, so that's sort of a really difficult thing that I had to overcome, and the mums empowerment movement social enterprise came about from speaking to a lot of mums at the time to do with the epilepsy, and looking at different problems that mums encounter within medical instance, and sort of all the other challenges that mums face. So in terms of business, that's a little bit about me. I'm a bit of a comedian personally, so I love to do anything that's fun and spontaneous, like jump out of aeroplanes and do crazy stuff. For example, I had in lockdown, I had my online birthday party where I let my daughter dress me up and put makeup all over me, which was lots of fun. So I try and incorporate my personality and the authentic me within all my businesses, and I'm really lucky that the tribe that I attract through those also share the fun and love of what they do in business, so and in life, because it's all coming together and enjoying what we do is what life's all about, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
that's me in a little nutshell. Lots of hats other than that, but in general that's me.
That's great, because hearing you say about being authentic in business, women wearing lots of hats, ties into what Judy was saying yesterday when it comes to applying for jobs, going for interviews, about bringing yourself, taking a holistic view when it comes to applying for that job and writing your application. And what I'm hearing is you're saying do the same thing when it comes to business, about take that holistic viewpoint, because you don't just bring one part of you to business, do you? Any business owner, it's about everything that they embody. It becomes their life, doesn't it? And you've got to have that passion, and it's going to have your personality, or should have your personality running through it. Is that what you're saying? Would that be an accurate summary?
Oh yeah, 100%, definitely. I think the same with career women and going for jobs they're really passionate about. You know, most women who start their own businesses start them through circumstance or because they have a personal need themselves and they want to be able to support others who are like themselves and offer that solution that maybe they've gone through in their journey, and then they create a business out of that. For example, I then said about the social enterprise I run, that came about from an experience I had. And the same with her business revolution, I suppose, you know, that came out of the opportunity at the time and the need for a really fun, supportive women's business network, and a network whereby women didn't turn up and feel alienated. I know that a lot of businesswomen who I've met over the last few years have been to other um, networks, whether it be male or female or just female, and felt almost alienated, like they're at school again and maybe they don't feel as part of something. And I think for me, with any business activity that I do, is to bring that fun and to bring that um, part of everyone who's part of it can bring something different to it. And almost um, that's why we all start businesses in the first place, because we want to do something that we're really passionate about and that we really enjoy, and we can pass that joy and that passion on to others and also help others in that process. So yeah, I think that's really important in terms of, like, a business is not just a job, the same with how a career isn't just a
Mm.
job. You know, when you're going for um, a job role to progress in your life, it's very similar to how you do with developing your business. You know, you go through that journey and that adventure towards the next stage of your career, rather than, you know, and a lot of women, when they start businesses, they almost don't appreciate that their businesses aren't going to look the same in a year's time, 5 years time, 10 years time, and that they will naturally progress the same as a career does. So I think it's very interesting that you had the lady yesterday who was saying about the that whole bringing your whole self to the application and to the role, because you're not just that person sitting in an office. The same as a business owner isn't just the accountant, they're everything behind the scenes of the business. So yeah, definitely authenticity and realism is just, I think it's, we're very privileged as business owners, and in some careers you have the same privileges, but a lot of jobs you're almost forced to conform to certain standards and certain rules and regulations, whereas the freedom of being a business owner, and almost, it is endless possibilities. There's so much that you can do with a business and evolve it, that your passion and your character has to come through in terms of what you're doing anyway, and will make a business stronger and more successful moving forwards, because you're bringing your whole self to the table, as it were.
Okay, absolutely. That's fantastic. And I'm picking up obviously the theme of authenticity there, because from the authenticity comes your passion and your drive and motivation. So I'm intrigued because and I'm taking some notes as you're talking, but you've been talking about three very different businesses. You've got your networking group, Her Business Revolution, then you've got your social enterprise, then you've got your virtual assistant business. They're all quite different types of business. So how do you make those work? Is there a theme other than authenticity that perhaps brings all of those together, that enables you to deliver all of them?
Sorry, could you say that again? My son decided to come in after spilling water all over himself.
Oh, no. Brilliant. I was saying, do you think
the joys of
you.
a mum in business in lockdown. Hey, we're talking about authenticity. That is my life. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've got a teenage son in the room next door who's playing his games, and often think, can everybody hear his games or him singing or whatever? So I absolutely, totally understand that. That's absolutely fine. But what I was saying was, you've got three very different businesses. You've got your business network, Her Business Revolution. You've got your social enterprise, and you've got your virtual PA business. What strand, if anything, other than authenticity, is it that you feel ties them all together and makes them work together?
yeah, I suppose it's interesting to see from the outside that you see them as such different businesses, because actually from obviously my journey in business, they've automatically evolved and developed. Like I said, I started at my kitchen table as a virtual assistant on my own, which grew to a VA agency, and then from that had the client who ran the smaller network and was then asking me to take on Her Business Revolution and evolve it. And that's all right, my daughter's just coming now. Can you please go out, darling? Can you please go out? I'll be 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, and then from the taking on Her Business Revolution, then that encompassed with the Ella going through the epilepsy journey, kind of automatically evolved the social enterprise arm out of that. So I suppose there's so much synergy between them. Obviously, I meet women from Her Business Revolution who need work done for them through Glow Virtual Assistants, as well as the coaching through Her Business Revolution. I then meet mums within Her Business Revolution who want to work with the social enterprise and have involvement there, and because they've got young children. So almost all works together, and I found very much that the three there's so much synergy between them, because almost all of my team in terms of the virtual assistants and the managers of Her Business Revolution and the volunteers that work with the charity have all come from within that network, within those. So it's almost like they're all part of the same business as such, and they work in different ways and cross over. So I would say the main themes between all three of them is that almost come from supporting other people and empowering other people to achieve, whether it be within motherhood and having that support network there, or with Her Business Revolution and empowering business women and give them the tools, or with the VAs that I work with and the consultants and associates, kind of offering them training and guidance, and empowering them to get the most out of being VAs. So I think that's the most common theme, is people within that, and offering the right tools and support and training and coaching and guidance, and almost watching everyone flourish within those three entities.
Okay, and I'm also picking up, going back to what you were sort of saying at the beginning of our conversation, I'm picking up that it's about being open to opportunity as well, because you've started as a VA, then you developed the social enterprise, then you developed the networking group, and then you developed the social enterprise. And it was about the opportunities presenting themselves, or in the case of the social enterprise, things happening within your life as things do, that you felt, actually there's an opportunity here that's not being met. Let me create something for what I need, because others are likely to need it as well.
Yeah,
And I think that's key, isn't it, in a business, to be aware of that.
And I think a lot of, like I said, a lot of women create business through circumstance. They've been made redundant. Maybe like at the moment with going through COVID-19, the pandemic, there's a lot of change. There's a lot of negativity. People have lost their jobs. Maybe they're in businesses where they're not making any money and they need to diversify and change and adapt for the current situation. I think that is so important when, especially when I coach a real sort of early day startup of sort of a few months, and say it's good to have a plan. You know, you want to have some sort of plan, but you need to also make sure that that plan is really adaptable, and that the strategies that you apply throughout that longer term plan can be adapted throughout that journey, because you're going to meet clients that might bring something to you that you weren't aware of, and then your business almost creates another department from off that, or a side arm, or a side hustle, or whatever you want to call it. You're going to have circumstances that happen, opportunities that come up that you just can't possibly foresee when you're at the first stages of starting up a business. And it's quite interesting that when I took on the small women's networking meeting, you know, it was a networking meeting of about 10 people at the time. It didn't have... Yes, darling, please go out.
I'd cut my first piece of apple.
Good girl. Out you go, please. Still trying to empower the daughter, cut her own fruit.
Absolutely.
Not with a sharp knife, can I just say, for any other mothers watching who a very plastic blunt knife. So yeah, when I took on that women's small women's networking meeting of about 10, I never envisaged of how it would evolve into the events and the online training that we offer, and the membership club, and the webinars, and the workshops we run, and all that kind of stuff. I never, at that point, I just saw it as a small women's networking group that I took over. And at the time, Glow Virtual Assistants was my business baby. That was my main priority that at that time. And I saw that as a way of building relationships, getting opening my network, and getting more business and more sales. But obviously then it evolved a few years later into a business which has more or less 90% of my time spent on it. And Glow Virtual Assistants, I sort of oversee that, and it runs itself over here. So never would I in a million years, as someone said, could you imagine this small networking meeting becoming your main business in 2015 if I was asked then? Whereas I never knew that was where my business journey would take me. But actually I'm happier and more passionate and more committed to coaching and supporting and watching business women grow their businesses and succeed than I was to work within the VA business. I'm happily oversee that and watch other VAs succeed there, but that didn't fit with my purpose and my passion as I went along my journey. So I think it's really important, anyone who's early in business, or even been in business for a few years, it's really important to always be open to new opportunities, because you don't know where they're going to lead, and those opportunities might be 10 million times better than what's going on at the moment. And especially with the pandemic at the moment, we've realised more than ever that we need to evolve as business owners and look for different opportunities that we might not have been so open to previously. So it's quite an exciting journey, really. As I always describe the business, it's running your own business. For anyone who's watching this thinking of running a business, I'm not going to lie, it's really tough. You know, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. It's really not. And it's a total roller coaster of emotions, in all honesty, especially through the early years. It's like, I suppose, compare it to motherhood. You have this business baby, and then you kind of, each stage of that business journey, as with motherhood, is different and has its own challenges, but it's worth it for the adventure and the opportunities that come along, I feel, anyway. You know, I don't think I know for a fact I could never go back to employment because of the restriction in those opportunities. I think the knowledge I could lose it all tomorrow, yes, is scary, but also the knowledge that something so exciting could happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day is what I get out of bed every morning for. It's just that exciting, and maybe that comes from my personality as quite a daredevil type of person. But for anyone who's watching this thinking of starting a business and not too sure, I always say, do you know what's the worst that can happen? You give it a go. If it's not for you, you've learnt some really cool lessons within that time frame. So I definitely, if anyone's thinking of doing it, just do it and jump, and hopefully they'll fly.
Brilliant. Brilliant. What I'm also hearing as well, and it's great for me doing what I do as a relationships coach, I'm hearing coming through all of that, the importance of the relationships you're building as well as along the way. The relationships that keep you going, the relationships within the network. And I know from my own personal experience, my own business experience, my very first business 15 years ago, I was one of the UK's leading virtual assistants, one of the first virtual assistants in the UK. But the networks I created back then, the relationships I developed back then, are the relationships that I still work with now. I'm still in contact with lots and lots of those people, and we still do business together. They pass some referrals to me, I pass referrals to them, that sort of thing. And the relationships are so vitally important. And I know we had a brief conversation before we started this particular video about the importance of business relationships, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, people are the key to any successful business. Whether you're a small team of people or a larger team, the same applies. That I think if you treat people well and you treat people with respect and you nurture what they bring to the table and they bring to the business and really empower them and grow them, they'll always be loyal with you. They'll always work alongside, and whether they venture off into, I've had staff that have gone on to develop their own businesses, and there's no hard feeling there because that was all part of their journey. They learn through the process of working with me or for me at the time with my businesses, and I've learned from them different things. And I think so many businesses, especially at the smaller stage, sometimes try and do it all by themselves. It's quite interesting. I had on my meeting this morning, which is why we're doing it a little bit later today than you use your time. I had a Zoom meeting. We were talking about outsourcing and automation and those sort of business strategies, and the conversation again kept coming back to the quality of person. Anyone can learn anything. If I wanted to create a business tomorrow of something, I don't know, completely building children's toys or whatever, just as an example, I could do that because there's enough knowledge in the world that I could learn that. But be the person I am, the traits that I have and what I bring to fit into that jigsaw puzzle with other people, you can't learn. They're the things that develop you further, and I think develop you as a person, and then as a business person, the more almost looking at your weaknesses and seeing what you're not so good at is really good, because you can then see what would make your business better and almost step back and see, well, I know that person and I've built that relationship with them, and I know that they know so much about this thing I'm not so good at. And then you bring them on board, whether it be as a staff member or you outsource or whatever that may be, and they then make your business better and you're able to learn from them and progress that way. I think a lot of business owners feel they have to do it all by themselves, and sometimes won't admit a weakness that they don't know something. But I think as anyone, as business owners, as women, career women, whatever situation, mums at home, no one knows everything. Oh. No one knows everything. And I think by building a network of really supportive, great people around you that, like you say, for years to come will have your back, help with your marketing, you know, share things for you, you know, give you feedback, pick you up when you're having a really bad day. You know, you've got all those, if you've got all those people surrounding you, you're unstoppable. But if you don't have those and you're trying to do that all by yourself, it just won't work. I think when it comes to relationships, that's why I'm so passionate that for people to be authentic and real and the person that they are within their business, because then from that you then attract the people that work well with you and make you stronger as a business owner, and then as a result make your business stronger and move your business forward. So yeah, it's really important for anyone who's watching this that maybe kind of feels at the moment, especially with the pandemic, feels a little bit alone or kind of a little bit like defeated with the current situation. Maybe their business has been really impacted by COVID-19, that just start reaching out to people within your network. Like, people are so happy to support and give feedback and offer advice and help people move forward. Then, you know, most people you read, and so much as women we try and suffer in silence, don't we? We try and kind of whatever it is that we're doing, kind of try and suffer in silence and make everyone else think that the world is rosy. But realistically, the world each day is not going to be as rosy as the last. And sometimes then having those relationships and really building connections beyond just the business, hello, I'm trying to sell you this, relationship, and into the I understand you, I know your strengths, I know your business, I understand what you could do for me and I could do for you. And when I'm speaking to someone else, and your name will pop into my head because I know you're great at that thing that that person needs, and I will connect you. And it all kind of, it's like that ripple effect. You drop, you know, a
Absolutely.
stone in the ocean, and then it kind of just almost that, but in love and success, I suppose. Does that make sense?
That's right. Yeah, it does make a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Thank you, Serena. And Serena, I'm aware of time. We've been about half an hour, so thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for joining me. If people want to find out more about you, want to know more about Her Business Revolution, what's the best way for them to get in contact?
Just go to our website. If you go to the website, there's a contact form on there. You can also sign up to some of our free trainings. So if anyone's thinking of starting a business, or they've already got a business, maybe they are struggling with the current situation, etc., or just want to go on and get some free stuff, then they can pop their details in there and we'll send them lots of free trainings and strategy advice, etc. So that's www.herbusinessrevolution.biz, and it's all there.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you do want to get hold of Serena, want to find out more about what she offers, about any of her businesses, go to www.herbusinessrevolution.biz and you'll find all of the details there that Serena's just mentioned. I'm looking forward to catching up with you all again tomorrow, when we have Sally Oddy of the Clarity community joining us. And she's going to be talking about getting clarity in your business. And those will be skills that you can transfer over into your life as well. So another fantastic speaker we've got joining us tomorrow. Serena, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for overcoming the technical issues. And I'll catch up with you very, very soon.
Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing the rest of your speakers.
Lovely. Thank you, Serena.
Thanks so
Take
much.
care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.